Welcome back, and this is Jeff Byers, and we are working on module 1, and where we're modeling a low poly and a high poly food can. So this is part 2 of my video lecture series, and so what we're going to do is we've got our cylinder created, and what we're going to do is we're going to just move it up. I'm going to hit the space bar and tap it again and just move that up in the front view. You can see that I'm in the front view, and I'm just tapping my space bar, okay, and this allows me to move from one screen to the next. So you can see where I've got my mouse cursor. If I tap on the space bar, it goes to that. I can hold down the Alt key and move around with my left mouse button, okay, hit the space bar and then go into my front view. I'm going to be doing that a lot, so I just wanted to explain what I'm doing here. My marquee, my mouse marquee needs to be in the viewport that you want to go to. So if I want to go to my perspective, I can hit the space bar and go there. Okay? So just kind of practice that a couple times and you're good to go. Also, if you hit the space bar and hold it down, we get what's called a marking menu. Okay? In marking menu, I'm able to go into my polygon menu. Okay, now this gets a little cluttered because there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm holding down the space bar, okay, and you can get that marking menu even in the perspective view. Okay, I can tap it and go from one perspective to a front view, or I can go ahead and hold down the space bar and this marking menu comes up, and it just makes it easier for me to select things. Okay, you'll see me using the marking menu a lot. I really don't go up in here. Okay, we have our modeling menu, we have our rigging menu, we've got our animation menu. This is our selection, our main menu selection bar where we can click on modeling. You can see that we have mesh, and we have all these modeling tools here. Edit mesh modeling tools. Mesh tools, you know, we've got some more modeling tools, and then mesh display. This is how we display our mesh. So we've got the main four, what I call the main four, which is mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools, and mesh display. We'll talk more about those and how to use your modeling tools a little bit later. You're going to learn more about it as we just go along. The best way to learn is just to do it. Okay? So if I hold down the spacebar and I go to hotbox controls, and if I just hold down the spacebar and I right mouse click over that, I can go to show modeling only. Okay? And then if I hit the spacebar again, just hold it down, you can see that it's not so cluttered. Now you can see that we've got our main menu bar up here, but then we have our mesh, edit mesh, right? Mesh tools and mesh display. We have our four main menu bars right there. I'm going to hold down the space bar again, okay? And sometimes it freaks out, you know, it wants to go to a viewport, okay? But if I hold down the space bar, you can see that we've got mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools, and mesh display. And what I did was I just clicked over, left mouse button click over the hotbox controls, and I can go to show modeling only, okay? Alright, if you want to go back, you can go to hotbox controls. Okay, I can go to show all, and I can show everything again. Okay, again, hotbox controls, show modeling, modeling only. Okay, and that just makes it kind of unclutters the marking menu. Okay, cool. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we've got that moved up. Okay, what we want to do is we want to scale this. So I'm going to hit the R key. And I'm going to use from the front view, I'm going to go ahead and click on the center and scale it up. So just click on the center, and that will let you scale it uniformly all around. You can see that if I don't do that, it will scale it this way, and if you look at it in perspective, it doesn't keep its shape. So make sure you do Control Z. That lets you go back. Now mine is saying error line, the undo cue is turned off. So if that happens to you when you try to do a Control Z, which is undo, what you want to do is you want to go up in here, and this is easy to fix. Obviously you can go in here and change all that back to 0, right? I can type in 0 here. Okay. Now 0 is not good for scale. Obviously 1 is what you want. Alright, so you can see we can get back, but what I want to do is I want to go to change that Q to be infinite. So I'm going to go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, and undo at the very bottom. Okay, so undo, and we want to go make sure that's on, undo, and we want to click on Q infinite. And we want to fix this right away because you guys are going to want to do Control Z, which is undo. So Control Z will undo. Go ahead and save that. Make sure you save it. So what we want to do is we want to scale this up uniformly, and the only way to do that is to click on the center square and go ahead and scale that up. And we want to match this side with this side and this side with this side. And don't worry if it's not perfect. It needs to be pretty close though. There we go. And then we can take this and we can use this non-uniform scale and scale that up. We're going to go ahead and use the W key to move it up. Okay. We want to match the top, the bottom of this, and the top of this. So instead of getting it perfect, okay, I'm just going to match the bottom. Now I can't really see where I'm at with the top, so there's one more thing we're going to do. We're going to go to Shading, and we're going to go to X-Ray. There we go. Again, Shading, and then click on X-Ray. All right. And then what I can do now is right-click over the object, and that gives us Edge, Vertex, and Face, and Multi-Select. So let's just do Vertex. I'm going to marquee select the whole top. I'm going to move that down, okay, to the top. So even though that's in perspective, this is going to give us the right exact shape that we want. Okay? So I'm going to go to the perspective view, and you can see that looks right. That looks correct. Okay, I'm going to right click over the object and go to selection mode. Alright, for the low poly for the can, what we want to do is we don't want to add all the divisions that we see here. So this will basically be our low poly can. And to be able to see what our low poly is, when you first open up Maya, you don't get the heads-up display that I get here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Windows, Display, and we're going to go to Heads-Up Display, and we're going to go. You're going to select Poly Count. Okay, and when you select that, you'll be able to see what I see here. Okay, so you can see vertices of 42, edges of 100, faces of 60, and that's perfectly good for in-game use and you can see that it is low poly when we get close to it. Okay, when you get far away, it looks better. Okay, and in-game, it's going to be something like this is about as close as we're going to get to it. Okay, something on the ground or whatever, a food can on the ground. Maybe in a game engine that you walk by, right? It doesn't need to be very high poly. Alright, so that's going to be our low poly. And you can see that I've got in my channel box, I've got right under poly cylinder 1, you can see that the subdivision axis is 20. Okay, that looks good. I think that'll work. Alright. So the next thing we're going to do with this is add the detail for the high poly. Alright, so we can do this in the next video. Right now we're kind of at that point where we'll go ahead and go to part 2 where we'll create a high poly resolution model out of our low poly. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, we'll see you then.